We've seen in a series of videos how good Jake is at bending steel conduit, but in that series I've took a bit of stick from you, haven't I, Jake?
You have.
So it's time to pay you back. Now, you haven't checked those videos out, I'll leave them for a link in the description below, but the challenge today, you're going to take it on?
I'll take it on, yep.
Okay. He doesn't know what the challenge is yet. The challenge is, we've got our Schneider Acti9 distribution board here, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll also leave that one in the description. I want you to drill a hole in the back of this trunking and come out the back. Now, we could come out in steel armoured, couldn't we? We could. We could come out in Flexicon, couldn't we?
That'd be nice and easy, yeah.
It would be nice. Flexicon is traditionally the conduit of choice for people who can't bend steel conduit. And I think in your series of videos, you proved you can bend it. So in steel conduit, I would like you to fabricate out the back of here a 90-degree bend.
Yep.
To exact measurements. Have you shown that video before on the channel?
We have, yeah.
Okay, so that shouldn't be too hard. I want you to come down to an angle box.
Yep.
Then I want you to make a double set, and that's quite a large double set, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Have you done that before on the channel?
We've done that before as well.
So this is on home turf for you.
Easy.
So when you go along the wall and on the outside, not on the inside, I want you to install this Scame 16 amp socket outlet. So we can therefore perhaps do some of our live streaming from outside of the building. Fancy doing a bit of that?
Sounds good.
The only thing holding us back from doing that is the fact that you haven't bent the conduit. So in this video, we're going to challenge Jake to see if he can produce that conduit bend in order that we can install this Scame 16 amp socket outlet outside. What's first then, Jake?
Yep, Gary, is that tea for me?
Unfortunately not, it's for me. I've just boiled the kettle, so feel free to run along and make yourself one. However, I use the last of the water. So what are you up to here? So
I'm on with your challenge. I'm cutting my first piece of conduit to do this measurement here to the back of the bend.
So we've got to get in under here, it's really tight, and
That's
we're going
right.
to measure that one. Shall we do that next?
Yep, we'll do that now, yep.
So what measurement are you taking now? So
we're doing our measurement from the back of our trunking to the back of our bend, and that is 22.5 centimetres.
Okay.
Now remember, Gary, we need to take off half a coupler.
Right, yes. So you're going to bend it exact from the back of the bend to halfway through that coupler in a oneer.
Yep, that's right. So that will leave us a measurement of 21. You can see that's in the centre of the coupler there. So 21 centimetres. So we're going to measure this piece at 21, as we said, Gary, taking into account the coupler being on there.
And it's just straight into that back of the bend technique that we've seen before on the channel.
That's right. So we can get that bent now.
Pop it into there. And this is the important bit for those people who haven't seen the video, isn't it? It's that making sure this line gets in with the back of the former, and you will use a piece of conduit and that mark.
Yep.
And they're the crucial measurements, aren't they? A little bit more. How does that look to you?
We're good to go there.
So we're square against the conduit,
yep.
And the conduit that was the scrap piece before we put it to 90. We've got any guides to show us when we're at 90 degrees?
We have round this side. I'm going to use your Tipp-Ex.
Ah, well, sorry, I didn't quite hear you there, Jake. What did you say you were going to use?
I'm going to use your Tipp-Ex marks, Gary.
And the first Tipp-Ex marks is at what degrees?
So the first one, that's for 30 degrees. This one's for 90 degrees.
I can't see it yet. A little bit more. I'm in the way again, aren't I? It seems to be the way.
Yep.
Yep, so that means that's at 90. Top tip that was, wasn't it? So we're going to need to suggest this measurement now. Is it square?
So use this scrap piece of conduit that we use to bend it.
And we're going for 21?
For the set square up.
Just have a little look there. Is that dead square?
How long is that?
Tipp-Ex, eh? Who knew? Sorry, correction fluid. So, yeah, there we go. So now this should be
the back of our bend.
21, and that looks like 21 to me.
Yep.
So it just needs a coupler on it, and that first measurement's correct.
And that's done, yep.
I don't know if I'm rooting for you or not at the minute. Is this going to be bang on? So you're going to get your coupler nice and tight.
Yep.
And we're hoping this is going to sit where the trunking is, right? Okay. Let's have a look. Back of there. And that looks...
I think we're all right there, Gary.
I think that's bang on, isn't it? So we're against the wall, and we've got our measurement now to the back of the trunking, but of course we're going to have to drill a hole at some point through the trunking.
Yep. We can do that now.
Okay, so that's next, is it?
So we'll drill our 20mm hole through the trunking, Gary. Got some cardboard in there just so we don't burn these cables. It is the board is isolated anyway.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess around with the amount of time it's going to take to show the isolation of the board, so we've isolated the board. And we're going to drill through there, yeah.
Better get it off hammer.
Yeah, top tip that is again from Jake. Remember, from the videos, nice and slow when we're in there. Maybe you need to watch one of my videos on cutting holes in metalwork. A little bit smoky in there. So we've got a piece of wood now, so how are we gonna go about that now?
So I've got this attachment, so I'll be able to get behind there. I'm gonna drill that wood with a 25mm bit, so my coupler can get to the back of that trunking nicely.
Okay, talk me through what that attachment is then.
So I've got an angle attachment in my drill. I've got a 25mm bit in there. That will enable me to get behind this trunking in that tight space.
Okay, let's have a look at that in action then. So you've got to find that hole that you came through with.
That's right, yeah.
So you need another set of eyes then, don't you?
This is the tricky bit.
Okay. Oh.
Right, I'm there, Gary.
Right, okay, so now you're going to drill a 25mm because we want to put a 20mm conduit through it. So
That's
there's
right,
a 20mm hole the other side, but to make it easier, obviously we've got a 25 through the wood.
Yep. There we go.
So we can see if it fits.
Let's bring it in.
And it's going to marry up with that
There
hole
we go.
there. Is it already there? It is.
That. I think you're going to have to start making these challenges a bit harder, Gaz.
I can do that, I can do that. And then we can see that. Now we're only putting this in so we can get a next measurement down, aren't we?
That's right, yeah.
So we've got that one in there. So this will be the position of which our box is going to be, and then you're cutting and threading again, is that right?
So I'm going to cut that at about 24cm, Gaz, so we'll be there.
And then that's an angle box going on?
That's right.
We'll bring in the old angle box at that point there.
You brought me some lunch, Gaz?
I haven't brought you any lunch, but it is delicious. You got the time on you? Timetable shuts at 2 o'clock.
It's just gone too.
Oh,
typical.
What a shame. Carry on then. So you're putting the thread on now, yeah?
Yep, so this is the bend from the back of the trunking onto the wood.
Okay, we'll press
So
on then.
that. Right, so we'll bring this piece in, just get it in place, just so I can get a measurement for my set.
And it's going to be some set as well, isn't it? So we look around the back here.
Quite a big set, yeah.
Yeah, that is bigger than we've done before on the channel, so it's a little bit of a challenge for you. So this is just going to be temporarily put into place, so you've got like a fixed point then to measure your conduit.
That's right, yeah.
We'll see round-headed screws as well. So college pedigree, I would suggest there. So first measurement is going to be...
To the first bend of the set.
Okay, yeah, at 30 degrees. What's that roughly?
Which is 25.5.
Okay. And the depth of that set then would be worked out from here.
And the depth of the set is 16.5.
Okay, so there are your two measurements.
Yeah. So I'm going to mark the measurement to the first bend from the angle box, which was 25.5. So that's going to be our first bend.
And then you're going to use the first line on here.
We'll use your lines
Yeah,
on
I
there.
like the sound of that, yeah. My lines, yeah. 30 degrees, yeah, thereabouts.
30 degrees, yeah.
You're going to bend it with the arm or your arm? Ah, you've gone in with the arm of the bending machine. We have done a video on the channel describing all the elements of a conduit bending machine, so that's in the playlist that me and Jake have done on conduit. So we're going to do this one at about 30 degrees. So where's that mark going to go in relationship to here?
So that's going to go to the edge of the former.
Okay, so it's a rough position.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to pull that one down. And that's bang on 30.
So we've brought our conduit over to our bench, Gary. We're going to put our next mark on for our second bend, which was the depth of the set, which was 16.5.
So we need a straight edge for this, so we're using the bench as a straight edge. We're going to set this to 16.5.
So there, measure it at 2 points.
Yeah, so it's parallel at 16.5. And we've shown this in another video, haven't we? And then what we end up doing is striking a mark here for the bend backwards, don't we?
Yeah.
So again, if you haven't seen that video and you want to see an individual masterclass on it, make sure you check out that video in the playlist in the description. You've marked that one. Good opportunity to spot some stickers on here as well at the same time. So let's have a look at your mark. Yep, nice and clear. Everyone looking at the stickers for the people who got missed. So you're back over to conduit bending machine now, yeah?
Back over there now to do our second bend. Cheers, Gary, you brought one for me.
Last one, mate.
Do I get a break soon?
Carry on.
Right, so we're now going to do our second bend. We've got our line that we did over at our bench. So we're going to get that line just coming off our former, like that.
Let's have a look. Yep, so it rolls against the former, and that's the point of which you're going to bend it back to get this set in the right position, yeah?
That's right. And we need to make sure our conduit is running straight. So I'm happy with that. Check my line hasn't moved. Okay, and I'm ready to bend. And again, we'll use the correction fluid marks on this side, so we know we're running parallel. Yep.
So you've run this one here, parallel with this one here.
That's
to get
right,
this set, yeah?
So we've brought our conduit back over to our bench, Gary. We're going to measure our set. So we was 16.5. So we're on there. And we're on there.
And let's see if it runs parallel with the table.
Perfect.
Well, a bit strong that is, but it's not bad.
So we'll bring our set in, Gary, and offer it up. Check we're happy. So that's where it's going to sit.
Let's have a little closer dive. So it's going to come across here. Does it run parallel with this wall?
Cooking with gas now.
Well, again, I don't overrate your own abilities. That's all right. Yeah, we'll give you a 5 out of 10. A good 5. So you're just going to thread the end now, yeah?
That's right, yeah. We'll take this off the wall, Gary, get it together and get it in place so we can make our mark for drilling through outside.
We're going to go back in. And this is all about now getting the right length this end in order that we can go out to our Scame 16 amp socket outlet, yeah?
That's right. So there we are.
Still not bad. You thought about doing it for a living?
Might do, yeah, I might take it up.
Going to get in that position where we exit out to the socket outlet, so we're just going to bring this down to level up with Jake.
Yep, so I've got my piece in. Got that level, so we're going to drill out there at the centre of this box. So I want to cut this piece of conduit there. Right, Gary, so we've got our back outlet terminal box.
Ah, right, so yeah, it's not quite the same as a terminal box. We've got an extra spout on the back at 20 mil. And if we want to know all about those boxes, where can we find out about them, Jake?
There's a previous video that we made looking at all the common and uncommon accessories. So Gary, I'm going to measure from where our bend kicks back onto the wall. I'm going to measure up to our terminal back outlet box, which is 44. I'm going to put a saddle in the centre there at 22 centimetres. I'm going to use a rapid saddle, which we've seen in a previous video, which just has a hinge on it, so only one screw.
And how are you going to secure that to the wall? This looks like a metal wall to me.
Yep, so I'm going to use a pot rivet for that.
That's our pot rivet in place. This looks a little bit technical. What are you up to now?
So I'm going to thread a 60mm nipple gaz. The thickness of our wall is 60mm going outside, so we've got a back outlet box similar to this one.
Yeah.
We're going to be putting a flanged coupler on the other side, so we're going to need a 60mm nipple to go between.
Oh, is that because you couldn't effectively thread a piece of 60mm long conduit with just the two ends? You're just going to thread it for the length of the 60mm?
That's right, yeah.
That's a good idea, I like that. So let's see, it's going to take a while, isn't it, to do all these threads?
There's going to be a lot of threading going on here.
Oh, I'd love to help you, but I'm not going to.
So I want to be threading up to about that point there.
Okay. Looks hard work.
Can I have a jelly baby, Gaz?
I'd just like to say, under any other circumstances, I would share them, but Haribo jelly babies are by far my favourite sweets of all time. So the answer's no. How many more threads you got to do? 60mm seems a long way.
My arms are killing me, Gaz. Do you fancy taking over?
No, I don't. Oh, green ones and white ones are my favourites.
You're all right setting me these challenges, Gaz. I haven't had a bite to eat. I haven't stopped all day.
Okay, stop moaning. Oh, juicy as well. Nearly at the mark. There is a bit of an issue though, because obviously we've now got bare steel been exposed, and this is going to go between the inside and the outside. What are we going to do with those threads?
Yep, so as we've seen in a previous video, we're going to use some zinc galvanising spray to put the zinc coating back on there.
Okay, pick your nipple up off the floor. Just like to remind you there is teeth throughout the whole length of that blade there. You seem to be using ones on the end. Okay, so we're going to have to ream this up as well, aren't we? We're going to have to get a round file in there. So you think, let's have a look at that nipple, that's going to be long enough to go between the spouted box and our flange.
So we've got our nipple in our flange. We're going to put it through the wall just to check for length, and then we'll take it back out and spray it up with our zinc galvanising spray. Just check it fits right first. So we'll spray this nipple, Gary. I'll get my PP on first. As we've done before in a previous video when we had our running coupler and we had our exposed thread. And we also had to do it that time when you messed up, Gary, and didn't tighten the conduit in the vise properly.
We don't need to release that video though, do we?
So we've got our nipple sprayed up with our zinc spray. We can get that in now and tightened up. So we're just going to get this on, Gary, just so we can mark it up.
We pop riveting again outside?
Yep, we are, yeah.
What have you been up to?
Oh, you've been to the bakery for us, Gaz.
Apparently not. This is the last one of the chocolate, half chocolate flapjacks, which are also my favourite. And I'd love to share it with you, but unfortunately you're very busy. And what have you been up to?
So Gaz, so far I've got my draw wire through the conduit, taped my singles on, got them here in the trunking. I've put a fly lead from our socket outside onto this terminal box here.
Right, okay.
I've isolated the board and I'm ready to go in.
So we're second fix.
Yep.
The bit we all like, don't we? So we're going to see you, I'd step in, but I'll let you have the glory of finishing it off with the second fix as well.
Thank you.
So just making those final connections in your 16 amp single phase Scame socket there.
That's right. So Gary, you'll see it's got a torque setting on the front of this Scame socket.
I can't from here, so can I have a little guess at what I think it might be?
Yeah, have a guess.
So that's a 16 amp isolating switch for the socket. 2 Newton meters of torque. That's similar to what you see in consumer units, isn't it?
You might think so. 0.8 Newton meters, Gary.
Sorry, repeat that again.
0.8 Newton meters.
Wow, that is not a lot at all, is it? So it just shows you if I'd gone in there with my aggressive left arm, I probably could have damaged that, couldn't I?
You would have done. There we go. Done.
We're on to the testing process now, Jake.
We are.
I must admit, I've got a little bit of a stomachache coming on.
I'm not surprised, Gary. All you've done is eat all day.
We don't need to go there. So which test are you going to carry out for me?
So I'm going to be testing continuity of CPC and polarity first.
Okay, and which 2 conductors are you going to test between first?
I'll be testing between line and neutral first.
Okay, and that's part of what test?
The polarity test.
Yeah, this is often missed, isn't it? When we're testing for continuity of CPC, we generally only test between line and CPC.
Yeah.
But on a ring final circuit test, we also test between which other 2 conductors?
Line and neutral.
And that's what you're going to do here, isn't it? So it means we start to prove that 3 pin positions are correct. Would you record the reading between line and neutral?
No, this isn't a test that you record on your test certificate, but as you say, it's going to confirm correct polarity.
Okay, and let's say I got 1 ohm for that reading. What will we get between line and CPC?
We'd be expecting the exact same, as they're both wired in 2.5 cable singles, both the exact same length as well.
Yeah, they're good. Let's see this first test. So reading of 0.2 of an ohm, so currently it's in the on position, is that right?
That's right, yep. So
operate the switch, and if you redo the test, we can see that switch is... So do we record that reading?
No, I've switched the switch off just to prove, 1, the switch is working correctly, and 2, the tester is working correctly.
Okay, so part of that polarity check. So now we're going to link together line and CPC and repeat the test?
That's right. So I'm now going to test with the switch in the off position just to check we're functioning correctly.
And we've currently got the line and CPC now connected in the distribution board, but I noticed you removed the CPC from the earth bar. What was you thinking behind that?
That's right, and that's to eliminate any parallel paths we've got. We've got the metal fabric of the building and the steel conduit as well.
So we're only proving the conductor is continuous to this point here. That's
right.
And that's approximately the same reading we had before.
Yep.
So we've completed both the continuity CPC tests, and we'll record that as 0.21 of an ohm under the box heading R1 plus R2, and we can tick the polarity box.
Yep.
We all finished?
All done now, Gaz, and you've come to clean up, thank you.
Absolutely not. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing you work so hard to install this Scame 16 amp outside socket outlet and the conduit system you installed. Is there anywhere else we can see you on the channel?
Yeah, well, we've done a full series of videos on steel conduit, and those can be found in the playlist in the description. And as always, we're really keen to hear your feedback. We want those in the comments below. And this time, Gary will be getting back to all of them.